creating those safe spaces for people to be able to go out and make their voices heard. They're also encouraging people to talk to their state representatives, to talk to their locally elected leaders, to make sure that they are advocating for what they are wanting to see in Memphis, in Shelby County, and in the Mid-South from their communities. We know that there have been a significant number, more than 5,000 arrests that have come as a result of the Memphis Safe Task Force, many of those immigration-related arrests or detainments as well. So what you're seeing, again, is lots of people who are lining up to express their grievances with that, to express some of the individual incidences. We've heard from the people whose family members have been directly impacted by ICE and by other agencies. And we've also heard from people who believe that these agencies should be in this community at this point. So but again, lots of people coming together to express their opinions and hold up signs so that all of the passersby can see what they're wanting, what they're hoping for from the community as well. There's lots of people who are also mirroring that of what they've seen in other cities like Minneapolis, like Washington, D.C., like Philadelphia, and other communities, both large and small, across the United States, many of them who are also protesting today and who have been protesting over the weekend as well. So again, we are expecting to hear from these representatives and community leaders in just a couple of minutes. Again, Indivisible Memphis is one of the organizing agencies for this protest. We are also seeing that Free the 901 is one of the backing agencies as well that does a lot of community advocacy in the Memphis area. So we are waiting on them to come up and speak. There might potentially be some other people, other community activists, or just people who have been directly impacted by ICE or by other enforcement agencies of the Memphis Safe Task Force in this area and who may be speaking to the community there. But you are seeing lots of people out there waving flags, waving signs, talking to one another, getting some more insight and perspective from one another, maybe even sharing personal experiences of what they have seen in this community, of what's been shared on social media, of what they've experienced firsthand, of other incidences that they've heard from loved ones or other members of the community talking to one another. You see somebody holding up a sign there that says no ICE. There are plenty of just people talking to one another, waving those signs and letting their voices be heard today. One of many protests, again, that is going on across the country. And so taking you back through things a little bit, a lot of this initially happened and is sparking from the incident that happened on January 7th in Minnesota, where there was a deadly shooting of a 37-year-old mother. Her name is Renee Good. She was killed by an ICE officer in Minneapolis on Wednesday in an alleged vehicle ramming incident. Now, ABC News is reporting that, according to the Department of Homeland Security, Good was allegedly attempting to run over a law enforcement officer with her car when that ICE officer fatally shot her. The Minneapolis mayor, as well as Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, have disputed the government's claims. They have disputed what the government has been saying about what happened in that incident. They're saying that the claims about what led up to that shooting coming from the government are false as well. I think we're going to be hearing a bit more from ABC 24 Shakina Davis, who is on the ground listening to that protest and waiting for some of those speakers to come up. So Shakina, what are you hearing and seeing right now? Actually, we're going to get back to Shakina a little bit later. But just to give you a little bit more of a look of what's going on right now, the crowd size has seemed to increase. Again, a lot of this sparking from the killing of 37-year-old Renee Good in Minneapolis. We've been seeing those protests happening over the weekend. The temperature clearly is not affecting people here in Memphis. It wasn't affecting people in Minneapolis as well. So we're just going to take a moment to listen in to let you all hear a bit more of what's happening on the ground out there as we are waiting from some of the state representatives and local advocates to come and speak to the crowd about how they are demanding ICE out of Memphis's communities and how they are wanting to reclaim a lot more of what they are calling safe spaces in the Memphis area and demanding that these enforcement agents be removed out of Memphis. So take a listen to where we are with that right now and what's happening in Berclair.
Although I will say, the Empire was great. Okay, the Empire fans! Memphis and Warhammer fans are like, hey, you want to serve the poor Satan? You know? No. I'm one of those OG Star Wars fans that has media literacy, you know? No, I love the Rebels. They're great. Star Wars is fucking awesome. I don't fucking understand these people. Okay, listen, there's like 7 hours left in the day. That can get us through the original trilogy if we leave now. I don't understand people. I don't understand people come up to me and they're like, yeah, I haven't seen Star Wars. They've been out for 50 years. No, it's just, they were required viewing for me as a child, so I don't know how. Look, my parents needed to shut me up. Oh, wait, there we go. God. Listen, the Empire man. It is quite cold, and I cannot drink water. I feel like I'm cold. I swear I never got your name. I feel like that, have any of you guys seen that video where it's ran on undercover boss? Oh, thank you. Really funny. He's like looking directly at the camera and he goes, listen, I am a slut at every stage. I don't know. All right. I've worked with them a lot. They're great. Yeah. No,
Here, could you take this?
All right, if you're just now joining us, we are following a protest throughout Memphis and throughout much of the country today as community members have gathered to protest ICE and the recent behavior of an agent, as well as the entire Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Agency itself. You're taking some looks at what's been happening around the country this weekend. Scenes from Minneapolis, the city where an ICE agent shot and killed 37-year-old mother of 3 Renee Good last week, and well as several other cities. You see New York City, cities like Durham, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, all of these cities, large and small, protesting ICE as well as several enforcement agencies' involvements in cities across the nation. Now, again, getting back to where much of this has stemmed from, a ICE agent shot and killed 37-year-old mother of 3 Renee Good last week on Wednesday in an alleged vehicle ramming incident. ABC News reports that according to the Department of Homeland Security, Good was allegedly attempting to run over law enforcement officers with her car when an ICE officer fatally shot her. Minneapolis's mayor Berclair and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz have disputed the government's claims about what led up to that shooting. Now, of course, protests are intensifying in cities that you just saw. We gave you looks across the country in cities like Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, Durham, North Carolina, and many other cities across the country. And you are now also taking a live look at a protest that is happening right here in Memphis in the Berclair area, where people are making their voices heard, waving flags, signs, talking to one another, talking to community members about trying to demand that ICE gets out of the Memphis area, and some of them demanding that other federal agencies involved in the Memphis Safe Task Force get out of the area as well. Now, again, taking it back to what has really sparked a lot of these protests across the country this weekend, this is because of a woman who was shot and killed by an ICE agent. Now, this is some cell phone video of that shooting of 37-year-old Renee Good, who was reportedly shot by ICE agent Jonathan Ross moments before he shot at Renee's car 3 times with 1 bullet going through her windshield. Now, after those shots were fired, Renee lost control of her car and runs into a nearby parked car. And so because of this incident that happened on Wednesday, it has sparked many protests across the country. We've seen tens of thousands of people coming out in Minneapolis, where this shooting happened, and several other cities. We've been seeing all of these people, thousands of people coming out to protest ICE's involvement in these cities, as well as some of the other agencies that are within a lot of these cities as well. Now, as we are seeing this protest, it is worth noting that here in Memphis specifically, we have been seeing other people who are saying that ICE's involvement and other involvement of the Memphis Safe Task Force is necessary in cities like Memphis and other cities across the nation. But today, and because of this incident, and because of all of the things that have recently been happening in communities like Memphis across the country, many people are taking to the streets to make their voices heard and let them know that ICE is not welcome in their cities, and that federal enforcement is not welcome in their cities as well. Now, shortly, we will be hearing from some activists in the Memphis area, as well as some state representatives. We are going to be hearing from Congressman Steve Cohen. We'll also be hearing from Kesha Scott, who is a candidate for Shelby County Sheriff. Rob Brown, who is a local business owner. He is the business owner of the Sandwich Spot in Orange Mound. And in an incident that recently went viral just last week, federal enforcement was on his property. That included ICE agents, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals, Homeland Security investigations, and several other agencies. More than 24 agents were on his property, where he has a sign that says no law enforcement is allowed without a warrant. Many people have taken to social media expressing some concerns about that interaction that happened with Rob. He is expected to be a speaker there because of the severity of that incident, and several other activists who came to his aid. You're taking a look now at some of the other signs that are being held up in the community as cars drive by, and many people are honking in support of what these Memphians are saying and are holding up, and the flags that they're waving, trying to emphasize their resistance to ICE being in the city of Memphis. We are also expecting to hear from Representative Gabby Salinas, who also recently introduced legislation making it clear that there are intended to be some safe spaces from ICE and from other enforcement in the community. She has been a very large advocate for Memphis's immigrant communities, for several other communities that are just within the city, within Tennessee, within Shelby County, within multiple different areas in Memphis. And so she recently introduced legislation that allows for there to be some safe spaces from ICE. But again, we're seeing a lot of the same activists that we have been seeing at other indivisible Memphis protests. They have been having these for months now, and really have gathered a lot of support, not only in Memphis, but across the country. Indivisible Memphis is the primary organizer behind many of the protests that we are seeing across the country this weekend. And so they are really encouraging a lot of people to come out there and make their voices heard, to hold up signs, to bring them, to talk to one another, to share their lived experiences or the experiences of their friends or family members or neighbors that they have heard in Memphis's communities and in other communities within the Mid-South, encouraging everybody to be here today to protest ICE being in Memphis and being in this area more broadly. So as we are waiting on these representatives to come up and talk, We're going to let you all listen in to more of what they are saying on the ground out there as everybody is anticipating the speakers to come up in just a couple of minutes and express to the community what their thoughts are as these neighbors demand that ICE get out of the Memphis area and out of the Mid-South. We're going to give you a listen into what all is happening on the ground out there and what these people are saying to one another, what protesters and Memphians are saying to one another. So take a listen. So if you're just now joining us here on 24 Plus, we are waiting for several representatives and community activists to speak at a protest as Memphians demand that ICE get out of their communities here. We are waiting to hear from Congressman Steve Cohen, Kesha Scott, who is a candidate for Shelby County Sheriff. We are also looking to hear from Rob Brown, who is a local activist and a business owner who was recently involved in a viral incident at his shop, the Sandwich Spot in Orange Mound, where several agencies, federal agencies, as well as the Memphis Police Department, came onto his property and, from his understanding, would not explain to him why they were on his property. He's expecting to speak there because of the nature of the incident that he experienced. We're also expecting to hear from Representative Gabby Salinas, who also recently introduced legislation to create safe spaces from some of Tennessee's communities from ICE and from ICE's involvement. And so we're going to take you to that in just a couple of minutes there as they are setting up and preparing for that conference and getting ready to speak. Again, Congressman Steve Cohen, candidate for Shelby County Sheriff Kesha Scott, local business owner Rob Brown, and Representative Gabby Salinas, and potentially a couple of other people are all expected to speak to a very large crowd that's in the Berclair area of Memphis today, protesting ICE, protesting federal enforcement and involvement in Memphis. This also mirrors a lot of some of what we've been seeing from other cities, so we're going to let you listen in now as this press conference is just beginning.
Esto no está bien. La verdadera seguridad nace de la dignidad. la rendición de cuentas y el cuidado comunitario, no de la intimidación ni del poder sin control. Hoy decimos la verdad, honramos el coraje y exigimos algo mejor. Thank you all for being here today. We are gathered because we refuse to let propaganda replace truth. We refuse to accept fear as public policy. And we refuse to stay silent while harm is done to our neighbors in the name of safety. Today is about lifting up community voices, the people directly impacted, the people documenting what's happening on the ground, and the leaders willing to say out loud, this is not okay. Real safety comes from dignity, accountability, and community care, not intimidation and unchecked power. Today, we speak truth, we honor courage, and we demand better. Today, we have United States Representative Steve Cohen, who would like to share some words.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. What happened in Minneapolis was an offense against every decent person in America who believes in due process, justice, the rule of law, and the sanctity of life. This good was demonstrated not at the moment that she was killed, but during the day. She was in her car and had some ICE agents come up and yell at her, "Get out of your car!" They had no authority to do that. ICE agents have authority to arrest people who are in this country illegally. If they have a warrant, they have probable cause. That's it. Period. They have no authority to move cars, to tell you to move, or to stay in front of your car so you can't move. She went back slowly in reverse, went forward slowly, and turned her wheel. And might have raised that guy's thigh, I don't know. But he had no business being in front of her car, which was improper police conduct, and no business taking his gun out and shooting her. Shot her, and shot her. He wanted her dead. Fucking bitch, as he said. He had a bad attitude. He wasn't trained properly. He shouldn't have been on that duty. Now the president, the vice president, and Miss Nome, Annie Oakley of this generation, have decided that she was wrong. She was a terrorist. She didn't obey what they asked her to do, and that she caused her own death. They are wrong. This needs to be decided in a court of law, and Minnesota state law, as well as United States federal law. And they should share all investigations with Keith Ellison, my colleague in the class of 06, and a man who will see the justice and service. I am upset. What happened there could happen anywhere in America. Trump does not know restraints or limits, nor does Christie know, nor does J.D. Vance. And they put that philosophy in the hearts, if they have such, of ICE agents. That's why they think they can go further, because they know they won't be punished. They know that if you're a friend of Trump, you get a pardon, and he approves of your conduct. This is wrong. I'm joining a bill with Goldman and Swalwell to change and reform ICE. I've also called for the abolition of ICE. ICE needs to melt. And Christie Nome should resign. The president probably won't ask for a resignation because the worse she gets, the more he likes her. But if she doesn't resign, impeachment should be considered. I'm with you and always will be. We'll fight against this totalitarian government that really is breeding terrorism of public officials and the weaponization of government against its own people. Thank you very much.
Next is someone stepping forward because the status quo is failing our communities. Kesha Scott is running for sheriff with a vision grounded in transparency, accountability, and trust, not fear-based enforcement or unchecked authority. She believes public safety must be rooted in relationship with the people most impacted, and the leadership being sensory to the community, not avoiding it. Please welcome Kesha Scott. He's looking for attention. Ignore this clown. Every event we have, he comes out and tries to get people attention. Just ignore this clown, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kesha Scott, and I'm here to let you know I stand with you. And you're right, no ICE. We can't allow them to disrupt our meetings. Pay them no mind. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stand together. I'm here with you. As sheriff, we're going to abolish that 287G. Right? I'm not going to accept that. It's going to be gone. I don't care what the new administration is doing here today, but we are here because of what happened to Renee. And we got to remember that, because if it happened in Minnesota, it could happen here in Memphis, right? So we got to stand together in unity, and we got to show that Memphis cares, and we're not having that here in Memphis. So we're going to stand together, and we're going to continue to fight. We're not going to allow this to happen and distract us. So no ICE. Let me hear you say no ICE. No ICE. No ICE. Thank you. My name is Kesha, and I appreciate you.
You got the fuck out the way.
Our next speaker represents what community leadership actually looks like. Rob Brown is a small business owner in Orange Mound who made it clear his space was not allowed. And for the staging ground,
Yeah, this guy's so
and for what his business was surrounded.
Don't touch me!
Our next speaker Our next speaker represents what community leadership actually looks like. Rob Brown is a small business owner in Orange Mound who made it clear his space was not a law enforcement staging ground. And for that, his business was surrounded anyways. His experience exposes the reality behind the talking points. When community assert boundaries, the response is force, not dialogue. Rob's presence here reminds us that harm is not hypothetical. It's happening to real people in real neighborhoods. Please welcome Rob Brown.
Thank y'all for having me today. I first off want to start off by saying, from the salmon spot, from my team, from me, man, we truly appreciate the love and the support, man, that y'all have been coming in, y'all have been showing us, man, y'all have been truly showing out, man, and we really, really appreciate that. I also want to say to my Latinx brothers and sisters out here, man, and I would like to be able to find more ways, man, where we can be able to work together, man. This issue is not just a Latinx issue. This shit is not just an immigrant issue. This is an issue for all of us, and we need to find better ways for us to work together, man. On ICE, getting ICE out of our city, getting this occupation out of our city. Again, and mind you, this didn't start when the Memphis State Task Force came. We had the DOJ report and they explained, man, that these tactics and the things that they did that night on my lot, that was going on. That's been going on. And until we all start finding a way to work together on that, it's going to continue to go on. But again, man, the salmon spot, me, man, we super appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for having us.
Our final speaker, Representative Gabby Salinas, is responding to what communities are asking for. Protection, not panic. Her work to establish safe spaces is rooted in a simple idea. Schools, churches, and community centers should never become tools of fear or trauma. At a time where enforcement actions are disrupting families and destabilizing neighborhoods, her leadership draws a clear line between safety and state overreach. Please welcome Representative Gabby Salinas.
Everybody say love! Love! Everybody say love! Love! My name is Gabby Salinas and I am a proud immigrant. And the first out immigrant woman elected to the Tennessee House of Legislation. And the proud sponsor of the Safe Spaces Bill. My family came to Memphis so that I could receive treatment at St. Jude nearly 30 years ago. And though we were strangers, Memphis treated us like family. It did not matter if we spoke English. It did not matter how long we were here. They knew that we were going through a tough time and we were welcomed with open arms. And it didn't matter. I know Republicans, Democrats treated us like family. So I know the hearts of Tennesseans. I know where we are at. I know our values because I have lived them. The bill that gave my family access to citizenship was sponsored by a Tennessee Republican senator. And I say that to say that that is who we are. And we cannot let people drag us into hate. We cannot let people drag us into prejudice. We have to choose love. We have to choose each other. What happened in Minneapolis should scare everyone. Everyone. Renee Nicole Good. Let's say her name. Renee Nicole Good was an American hero. She was someone that was standing up for our rights, standing up for our Constitution, rights for due process. And what did the other side say? Her life did not matter. They justify their actions because she had a wife. They justify their actions with hate for who she was. And we cannot let that happen. We have to keep intersectionality at the heart of our movement. The LGBT community needs to turn out for the immigrant community, and the immigrant community needs to turn out for the LGBTQ community. The first day of session, the opposition has decided to take out an anti-drag bill. And they're working against our bill. So what are we asking teachers to do in Tennessee when our schools are crumbling? Here in Shelby County, we have $1 billion of deferred maintenance. We're asking teachers to teach in almost war-like circumstances. We have permitless carry. We have high poverty, high crime. And now we want to throw ICE into the mix?
No way.
Who can learn in that environment? Who can learn in that environment? Nobody. So our bill, our effort is to protect everybody in our community, and it is the minimum we can do. Because imagine the world that we would have if we used the same aggression and the same resources to combat poverty, to combat our hospital closures, to combat hunger. The governor just turned out $78 million of federal funding to feed our kids. Why can't he deploy the National Guard to feed our kids instead of sow hate in our community? So I am so happy to be here with y'all and to be among friends, because right after this I'm heading to Nashville. And I will carry you in my heart. And please, please come visit me in Nashville and come advocate, because we need your voice there. We need your fight. You know, I got into politics to make sure that everyone had health care. And to my friends and the people in our community that voted for Trump, that also includes you. So let's get to work to make our community better and stop hate. So to end this, everybody say love. Love. Everybody say love. Love. See you at the Capitol.
You got it. when elections come, remember to have her back just like she's been having ours. This is the kind of people that we need representing us.
That's right.
Vote for Kesha Scott when it's her time. If we keep if Buckner gets in office, nothing's going to change. It's the same thing as Bonner. So let's get rid of all these crooked politicians.
Make sure you vote, y'all. Register and vote.
Make sure everyone registers and vote. The line holding this banner right here.
What do they?
Yeah, put it up right again, right here. This one down.
And you just finished hearing from some state representatives and community members out there as advocates, neighbors, Memphians, and members of the Mid-South protest to demand that ICE gets out of Memphis. Now, there was a lot that happened in the last couple of minutes that I want to break down and talk to you all more about, to walk you through some of the things that you just saw there. Shortly after Congressman Steve Cohen finished speaking, there seemed to be somebody in the background of him holding up a "Thank you, President Trump" sign. There were several people that then gathered around that person trying to, what looks like, take that sign down. Now, a couple of minutes later, after some other activist finished speaking, that same sign reappeared. I'm not sure if it was the same person or if it was somebody else, but then you saw that person kind of being pushed out of the frame, out of the scene there, and then kind of taken around behind the back of the podium as well. And then also that sign was taken down again. So we're not exactly sure what the interaction looked like there, but you finished hearing from a lot of representatives and activists out there as everybody is emphasizing that they want this protest to remain peaceful and they just want to get ICE out of Memphis for good. Thank you for joining us here on 24 Plus as we continue to cover what is going on in our neighborhoods across Memphis. We'll see you back shortly on ABC 24 News at 5.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24 Plus app everywhere you stream.